Today, we're going to be talking about music strategies for 2024. What's going to be the best strategy for you to make it as a independent artist, musician, producer in 2024? We're going to go over some strategies and where we think the industry is headed. Stay tuned.
Arkatech Beatz.
What's up, everybody? It's Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. We are your hosts, platinum producers, Arkatech Beatz. I'm Juggernaut.
I am Mike Trauma D.
And together we make the super duper group, Arkatech Beatz. If it's your first time here, make sure you're liking that subscribe button, hitting that like button, the notifications. Every week we get together to just talk about different things in the music industry. And today we want to just talk about the strategies for 2024. What is going to be the strategies for independent artists, musicians, producers to really get some traction in 2024? We just want to give you some takes on what we think is happening and where the industry is moving toward. So let's jump in.
As we've seen throughout the year, AI has been making a big jump. So I think one of the main things that's going to be happening this year is, the following year, 2024, is the continued booming of AI. Using AI in production, marketing, just really taking advantage of that technology and watching it boom from there.
I think people are not really paying attention as they should to AI. There are so many tools right now. Bard just dropped the new Gemini, this Google Bard, who dropped the Gemini basically language model. It's supposed to be the competition for ChatGPT, and it's really, really good. It can recognize images and critical thinking. It's kind of spooky to where it's going, but people are using this to basically streamline their business, create their marketing platforms, websites. So that's in conjunction to what you may be doing, using AI to make music, but you can also use AI at this point to really structure your business behind your music. And I think that's what people are really starting to do, using different tools for content creation. So This is really where it's going. And I think if people are paying attention, they're going to put themselves in a real good position to win.
Yeah, if they take the time out to focus on studying it now, and it doesn't take long to even figure out. It's not something that's really difficult or challenging. You don't really have to be tech savvy, just a few things that you have to understand. But once you got it down, you can really run your business more efficiently, quickly. As I think the main thing right now is just to make sure that you have time to do everything, and AI allows that. AI allows you to knock out things quickly, so that you have time to handle other aspects of your business, to be able to come up with some things on the fly. Sometimes it's very difficult and it's time consuming, between making beats or finding the right words to use in a marketing campaign, or finding the right pictures or logos or catchphrases. And, it's time consuming, and for AI to be able to handle that for you and spit it out, man, it just makes things run a whole lot quickly, smoother. And you have time to do other things that you really want to get into, things that really require your real attention. So AI is definitely something that you need to learn, to have in your arsenal, and to make sure that you take advantage of every aspect of it. So AI is definitely the thing to have for 2024, to have on your side, to have on your team, to even say.
And I want to jump into that, and also the real reason why we're saying what we're saying with regards to AI is that music should no longer be promoted as a singular commodity. It has to be coupled with other things in order for you to be able to really grow your business as an artist. Artists have to realize that, hey, the days of just being able to sell music are pretty much over. You have to find a way to implement experiences, merch, art, NFTs, whatever, however you want to put it together. But you have to put all these things together with your music in order to create a sustainable business model in 2024. I think the days of really just trying to get a viral hit or trying to get, a hit record, it's not enough to sustain independent artists anymore because the scale is so it's being tipped by the majors and they're, running the playlists and with the streamers and everything. So you can't really compete with that. So you're gonna have to find other ways to bundle your music in order for you to be able to create a living for yourself.
Well, this is something that we've talked about in multiple podcasts throughout the year. Using the music to help sell other product that you may have. There's from clothing lines to liquor to beverages to food to there are a lot of artists that's now involved in so many different things. Shout out to Bun B and them Chill Burgers. Like there's so many artists doing other things, and for you to use your music to help promote those other things, I think that's where it is right now. Music alone is just not something that's going to be sustainable by itself over the long run. You need to bundle it with other things for it to really, really make things move.
I hope people are paying attention. That's going to be the strategy for 2024, especially as we see more people going direct to consumer. You're not
Direct to
going to be able
consumer,
to,
yeah.
you're not going to be able to go direct to consumer with just simply saying, "Hey, just download my music." Like because there's easier ways for music to be consumed through streaming platforms. So in order to get people to get into that whole direct to consumer shit, you got to really get people involved in your other products that you may have to sell that you're bundling.
Yeah. So so far, AI is the first thing that we're saying. So AI is definitely 2024 Arkatech Beatz pick as one of the things that you're going to need for the 2024. That's what we see coming, growing, and in order to be successful, you need to have that in your arsenal. A good understanding of AI, how to use it, and to implement it properly in your day to day in your business.
That's the number one. Number
Um,
two,
what do you think?
it's going to be pivoting from streaming platforms.
We're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing uh, people being fed up with the royalties, the splits, the payout amount, per stream. Nobody, no real creative is really happy about that. Nobody negotiated it on our behalf. So these numbers are just, to be honest, just really ridiculous. So we're seeing people starting to exit streaming. And specifically, especially Spotify. I mean, that's been one of the top things right now. People leaving Spotify and simply just placing music on their own website, or they're partnering with another platform that allows them to sell merch and sell other things on more of a direct to consumer relationship, and that has allowed the artist to get the data they need directly to get their emails from the consumer, phone numbers, the region, and using that data to turn around and market it back again to them to give them additional product, additional discounts, just additional opportunities, things like that. When you have that information, when you have that data, you can now market directly to your consumer.
And that is going to be probably a very, very powerful tool is having that customer data. Um, that is what's going to be the name of the game as we go into that, as we go to 2024. Um, Coupled with that, subscription models and membership models.
Hmm.
I think that's also going to be the new wave in 2024. You're going to see a lot more memberships. You're going to see a lot more
Hmm.
subscriptions. You're going to see a lot more
Direct to consumer.
direct to consumer, but
Hmm.
those things being tied into the income stream to try to make sure that people are realizing that you're building a community, and that you're going to see more community building with a lot of artists because that's really the only way to survive in this ecosystem. So between the direct to consumer membership subscriptions, shout out to fan base. Um, I think those are going to be the models that that basically are going to take over, especially in 2024.
I mean, we gotta take lessons from all of these big companies that's adding subscription to their whole ecosystem. All of these, even the entertainment field as far as films and Netflix and Paramount Plus and Disney and all of these things, they're doing these subscription, and we gotta take kind of like note of those things. Like, you know what? We need to be doing the same thing as independent, smaller independent companies. We need to be taking that information and utilizing it. You need to make sure that you're getting that information, that data, because again, before those things were cut off from us. These major companies will you take our music, put it out, and they get the analytics, they get the information, they know the age groups, the regions, they know all of those things based on the music we supply them. And they're able to take that and target market and then sell that info and sell that back to us as, okay, we'll give you ads, we'll do this for you, but you got to pay us now. And you know there's no need for that anymore. Do it yourself. you know so I think, this year coming, I think there's going to be a lot more um, meeting and greeting, more direct to consumer, and utilizing that, because at the end of the day, that's the only way you're really going to survive. That's the only way you're going to know who your audience is. To be able to send out an email to the consumers, to send out an email and say, "Hey, did you like this record? What's your feedback?" And to be able to get direct feedback and knowing if they like the record, if they like the product, if they like the merch, if they didn't, what they could change, and then take that information and implement that into your whole thing. I remember working at SRC, a lot of records back in the days, and SRC at one time we would promote other people's merchandise, other people's products, and we would sit down every Monday and have a panel. Get some teens from the local high schools, and we bring them in, and we'll sit down and say, "Listen, do you like this product? What do you think?" And they'll jot down what they like, what they didn't like, and we'll take that information and use that to help in the product marketing. And that is key. You need to know what the consumer wants in order to pitch it properly, or even just to make the right product. So don't take this in vain. Listen to your consumers, because they're the ones that's going to be purchasing. They're the ones that's going to be supporting. And you need to know exactly what it is that they need, what they expect from you, so that you could create the product.
That's always good information. So as we go into 2024, we're looking for folks to really go direct to consumer, get customer feedback, implement customer feedback, use that to basically improve your services, improve your products, improve your art, by just getting the feedback from your fans and or customers, and really trying to make the right decision so you can continue to grow your business.
Absolutely.
Um, so we said AI, we said direct to consumer on the production side for producers. You
hmm
and I were talking about this earlier. We were saying that we think that everything is going to go to licensing, like straight
Yeah.
out. I don't think we're saying that, and we've been saying this for a while. We don't feel that producers should be selling their masters as work for
Yeah.
hires anymore. I think
I
that's an
don't.
antiquated model.
hmm
Um, and I don't think that producers should be relinquishing their masters in that fashion anymore, giving, unlimited licensing and that type of situation. I think licensing should all have time limits, and it should be based off of, performance based licensing, if that makes sense. Um, Based off of, if your record does X amount, then you license it for this amount. If it does this amount, then you license it for a little bit more. And I think that needs to be the model. I think it makes it a lower barrier to entry, and it also
hmm
gives the producer, um, more options.
And it gives the artist more options too. Like, you know, an artist. Let's be for real. Like, the artist, a new artist, for the most part, is not gonna sell a million records brand new out the gate. Without no buzz, just brand new. A lot of artists that's just getting into the business and just trying to figure this whole thing out. They want beats. So it doesn't make sense, or nor is it affordable for new artists, independent, buying beats for 5, 10, 15, 20 grand. It doesn't make sense. It'll make more sense that you lease license, you know, beats for your project. and work on that, because you're not realistically, you're not going to do 10 million out the gate. For the most part, unless you're incredibly lucky and talented and have already, hundreds of thousands of dollars backing you,
Right.
but for a new artist, that wants to put out a project that may do 20,000, may do 50,000, and license those records, license out those records, and so that you could get your project going. You know, for you to waste your budget on $10,000 beats, that doesn't make sense. When you could get the same project done for licenses for $50 to $100, doesn't make sense. You know,
I think that's part of what we need to kind of stand on. We need to stand on saying to telling artists like, listen, you need to perfect your craft,
right?
and there's no way for you to do that if the production costs are just too out of hand. You're not going to be able to really do what it is that you need to do to develop a sound. That takes time. That
Right.
takes the recording of a lot of music. And I don't
Right.
think that people realize that. Like, if when we were developing artists in our earlier days, we will be talking about recording upwards of 40, 50, 60 songs, right? Um, you're doing songs every session to try to make sure that you can try to figure out, like, what is my sound? What is my, how am I going to create my hooks? How am I going to double them? What's going to be my specific way, my recording process? And that takes time. And then, you need to also develop that with a producer. So, if it's unaffordable, it kind of creates a situation where the music to me gets stagnated. And that's what we keep seeing. We keep seeing people jumping from this to this to this to this. And it's because, the people that they were working with, they stopped working with, and it might be a monetary situation, and they never really get a chance to develop a sound. So that these artists are kind of all over the place, and then they can't really replicate what made them hot in the first place.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that, so many people want to get into the business, and there's so many talented artists that are unable to get their due shine only because they can't afford certain records. And that's a shame. That's a shame that because you're talented, but because you don't have the funds, you can't create something. That's is ridiculous. So I think leasing, licensing. I think that is going to be the main thing for 2024. I think selling out your beats totally is not the way to go. And doesn't make sense for the producer. Doesn't make sense for the artist either. Especially if you're selling it at such a high premium, the artist is not going to be able to afford that. And then if they do buy it for that much, that song most likely is not going to do anything. So if you've already wasted 5, 10 grand on a record that isn't going anywhere.
Right? Because you haven't had a chance to perfect your marketing. You haven't had a chance to perfect your promotion.
Yeah,
You haven't had a chance to build your fan base. Like, there's a lot of things that have to go into making a successful record.
right.
And,
And those things require certain monetary. Those things require finances.
right.
The recording process these days should be cheaper, should be affordable, and you should be able. Like, there's so many resources out here to get really great records. So there's really no excuse on your beat sounding like trash. The beats you're choosing. If you're choosing trash beats, then it's really on you. You don't have the ear.
You don't have the ear.
You don't
And
have
you
the
need to
ear.
get with somebody who has the ear, which
Right.
may be a whole different lane in itself. I never
Yeah.
even really considered that you may have to hire somebody that has the ear, that can make sure that you can get what you need to get so that
I
you can
mean,
sound the
quote
way you need to
unquote,
sound.
quote unquote. That was the job of an A&R too.
Right.
Maybe 2024 there needs to be more independent A&Rs stepping up. Getting with not just you as an artist having a hiring or getting a producer on deck, but having a person who's an A&R on your team, who can spot the right records or get the right beats for you, and say, you know what, you sound dope over this. This is
Yep.
what works for you, and help you really create your projects so that you could just be an artist and really just, get in the booth and rock out, and have that person on your team to help just really taking what you have and really, packaging it properly, making everything sound cohesive, that is something that is definitely needed in for 2024, and hopefully, we could get some better sounding music, better sounding records for 2024, because it's been somewhat all over the place. It's for in 23, musically, it's been all over the place, and there's been a lot of uproar on content in music. So hopefully, we could see a better 2024 when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely going to be needed for 2024. I think the if we want hip hop to continue to, I'm just talking about hip hop specifically in this genre. If we wanted to continue to grow, we're definitely going to have to take a little bit more time and trying to develop and making sure that we're creating the right soundscapes, because that really got lost in 2023. Like it
Mhm.
I think we're doing a little bit better. Nicki Minaj just came back out, but this is a legacy artist.
Right,
Like
right.
the industry shouldn't be wholly dependent on the legacy artists in order for us to have some sort of traction. You know, but one last thing on the licensing, I think and I mean, people may crucify me for this, but I think the labels might benefit from licensing too. It would reduce some of the administrative headaches in terms of royalties, etc.
Hmm.
Um, and accounting. Just saying, what I'm saying, because basically all you'd have to do is you would just have to set up a mechanism that basically sends out an automatic payment once a record hits a certain threshold.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. Um,
And relicense, what I'm saying? So if you paid for a license that, allows 1 million streams, okay, you hit the 1 million streams, okay. You
right.
you send back out, another payment with regards to that license to continue for another 1 million streams, or double up or triple up or whatever that looks like, or renegotiate for, another set of certain streams. But that would be far cheaper than, coming out and saying, hey, I'm going to pay you 10, 20, 30, 50, 100,000 fees. I
Hmm.
mean, I know those days are kind of over with, but, I know I maybe get crucified on the producer slate, but this also gives the producer the ability to resell a master. And I
Yeah.
think that is the key here. That if you got a hot record that you can, license out to a dozen artists versus just one, I
Hmm.
think I think that creates a different kind of ecosystem in terms of your business model.
And it also puts the fire underneath the artist to, okay, they'll realize they may not be the only person with that beat. So then you just got to make sure that what you record is top notch and it
Yeah.
trumps everything else. You know, it doesn't matter if you get the same beat as somebody else. You have to make sure that your version is top notch. Everybody comes to your version, and once that happens, then everybody else is just going to look like, okay, those are all copycats or those are all freestyles or for the beat, because that's usually what happens. So,
And that's funny that you said that, because we don't if we took that stance,
mhm,
you know, wouldn't music quality be so much better? Meaning if more people could jump on this record and really take it and turn it into their own, and
mhm,
may the best song win.
right.
Like I think that is probably what we need right now in this industry, in the
Because
music industry.
you seen people freestyle on records, making it sound a whole lot better than the original.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, if that person had the beat, way before that artist and was able to put it out, man, the bar would be at a high. So, you know, I think leasing and licensing for 2024 is where it's at. I think it works both ways. It works great for the artists. It allows them to get a beat at an affordable rate so that they could complete their project and put it out. And it allows the producer also to retain their masters. It allows them to be able to lease the beat over and over again. And that's something that's always great for a business to be able to sell a product multiple times.
And for those looking for Arkatech Beats production, architectbeats.store. That is the place where you can get all the latest and greatest tracks, productions, and licenses for music. Um, One other thing that I wanted to kind of go through is social media for 2024.
Hmm.
Who is the platform king in 2024 for independent artists, musicians? Who is the platform? What is the platform? Is it TikTok? Is it IG? Is it Twitter? YouTube? What's your take? Because I think it's still going to be TikTok is still going to be king for 2024 for
Hmm.
music, but I feel that people need to keep an eye. Have to always keep their fingers on YouTube. YouTube is a staple, and then I think that you're always going to have I think Twitter maybe be emerging as a place for artists to congregate in 2024 if Elon Musk has his way.
I agree with you. I think Twitter is such an underdog right now, and it's being slept on so much right now. And you got to think about who's behind it. Elon Musk, like he's no slouch. He always pushes the envelope. He always like goes far and beyond,
Yep.
even when even when things may not be ready. He just pushes forward, and you just like wait. That guy pushes his product forward. He's innovative, and you can't sleep on that in 2024. And it's going to be interesting to see where he's going to take Twitter. And you want to make sure that if it is something that's going to move significantly forward, that you're set up properly.
Yeah.
Your page is good. You got everything you need. You got your social medias attached to your website, and that you're able to be found. And I think that's also key to make sure that you're found. There are a couple artists that I've seen, and then when I went to go research and find out who they are and get some music, it was a challenge. And you want to just make sure that in 2024 that you have a good digital footprint. And what I mean by that is that I could find you on every major
Platform.
social media platform, everywhere.
And I
You know,
don't see that happening enough. I think that there are artists that are just say, "Hey, I got a little traction on IG. I'm just gonna stay here." And I think that you have to have a footprint almost on every platform somewhere somehow. We're not saying that it has to be prominent, but you need to be in that situation because you have opportunities that come from different platforms.
absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know, different networking opportunities that come from
Mhm.
different platforms. Um, so
And we've experienced that firsthand.
yeah,
You know, there are people that you can't get in contact with on this platform, but you find out that you could get in contact with them on that platform for whatever reason.
yep,
Some people are just more uh, involved in certain platforms than others. So if you have connection with all of the platforms, if you can't reach someone on this, you might be able to get them on that one. And you there's certain fan bases that kind of gravitate to certain platforms as well. So it does yourself a disservice if you're not making yourself visible everywhere. you know.
yeah,
Um,
and for music especially, it's a networking situation that you have to be almost everywhere. And when we're talking about on a content creation type of situation, you definitely want to be on the platforms that are monetizable. And I think
mhm,
that's another thing that people are not paying attention to. TikTok is monetizable at this point.
mhm.
Um,
YouTube.
YouTube monetizable. Twitter
Mhm,
monetizable.
mhm,
Facebook, you're good for bonuses, but there's a cap, right?
Hmm.
And then of course um if you make enough noise in Facebook, then you can get monetized in other ways. But the truth of the matter is that Facebook um does not and will not promote your material, contrary to popular belief. And for you to become monetizable on those platforms, they make it extremely difficult because they have a very, very, very high thresholds. So, and then IG is not monetized at all. So, as to why people are still on that is beyond me. So, for 2024, unless the bonuses and all of that stuff comes back on IG and all that stuff, I would tell independent artists and musicians to focus on the platforms that are um, that'll pay you to promote yourself, which
Right.
I think is a win win.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what else? Any other things for 2024 that we should be looking out before we cut out of here?
Just keeping your eye on technology as a whole, like I said,
Yeah.
just making sure you're tapped in, creatively, making sure you're keeping your eye on what's going on, and just being aware totally of your surroundings, your environment, and what I mean by that is just the whole music space, the whole entertainment space. I think we just need to pay attention, and when you see something happening, you got to act on it. You got to make sure that you're positioned properly, because you don't want to miss the bus. You don't want to take advantage. You don't want to not take advantage of the opportunities. Um, I think also something we missed. I think information. You know, 2024 um, is going to be very crucial that you get the right information.
Yeah.
We make sure that we've put out books on our website to kind of give you some information, some background on music publishing and a couple of other areas. But if you want to make the right decision, and position yourself properly, you got to educate yourself. That's always been the thing. That does not change. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter what year it is. 23, 24, 25, 20. It doesn't matter what year it is. You have to take a moment to educate yourself so that you can make the right decision, position your business properly, and take advantage of what is about to happen. You know.
Yeah. It's real because of the information, and I think you and I were talking about EYL episode, or Earn Your Leisure, and
Hmm.
in that video they were talking about you know the space in black media not sharing information. So
Hmm.
because this guy doesn't share information with this guy, we don't have the benchmarks, or we may be undercutting ourselves because we're not sharing the information. We don't know what this deal is worth, what this means, what that means, how to monetize properly, what's a funnel, what's this, what's that. So people don't know what these things are. So we can sometimes be at a disadvantage because we're not really sharing the information, and we can be undercutting each other, and
What's what,
it's a wild west out here.
what's worse is that people end up making assumptions and making statements, posting incorrect things, and then people following that. And
Yeah.
when I see that, it's very discouraging because I will see a post and it'll have 50 comments, and like 30 of them is totally incorrect following. And I can't be Captain Save 'em, like trying to hit all 30 people like, no, that's wrong. That's incorrect. That math is wrong, or that's not how it goes. You know,
Yeah.
and it's really sad when people follow the wrong thing, and you're here trying to point people in the right direction, say, hey, follow, you need to read this, or you need to check this out, or research this properly. That post is untrue. That's not correct. Or the person that's giving you that information got it from someone else, and it was part information. It wasn't the full thing. And so many people are making uh, business decisions or they're tailoring their choices and decisions based on that bad information, and you're putting yourself in a bad space. And we cannot move the culture forward. We cannot move our community forward if we just keep regurgitating bad information, the wrong things, making assumptions. Um, we got to do the research. We got to cross check, what we're hearing and confirm if this is true. We got to, investigate the person that's giving you the information. Is that person even of the culture? Is that person even giving you the right information? Is that person where does that person even stand? Where are their credits? So I think in 2024, we need to do a lot more digging, you know, looking for the right information. It has to be something that is in the forefront. We have to look for the right information. We have to question what comes across the table, dig for it, question the person's credibility, and make sure that you have the right information so that you can make the right choices for your business, your way of life, for everything that you are doing. Because these things will turn things around in a positive or negative way. Choice is yours.
And on that, these episodes are brought to you by our books, the Songwriter's Guide to Song Registration, the Musician's Guide to Music Copyrights, the Musician's Guide to Music Publishing, and then the Ultimate Guide to Forming Your Own Music LLC. One final thought for 2024, and I think that we're not. I think a lot of people aren't talking about this when in relation to the music business, especially when we talk about a lot of um, the allegations and a lot of the situations that's been happening for this year. Is we want to make sure that people are protecting themselves and their mental health
Yeah,
in this music business. This music business, we're chasing something that's can be a dream for some and a nightmare for others. So we want to make sure that folks are protecting themselves at all times, making sure that they're um, getting the help that they need because of the this business is very, very stressful and overwhelming.
very.
And if you don't have the right support systems, if you don't have the right family infrastructure,
Hmm.
if you're coming from a broken situation, it will be exploited. And you know, the exploitation in this business is, you've seen it happening over this last year. It can
Yeah.
be it can be horrific. So I want to make sure that artists are out here protecting themselves, not putting themselves in, strange positions,
Mm.
pause, and, making sure that everybody is, trying to, do the best thing that they can do to protect themselves and move forward.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, man. Like we got to be more mindful of mental health, um, which is just one aspect, and just making sure that you move a certain way. Over the last couple of years, a lot of our artists has been in pretty bad positions, between being killed or just being strung out on drugs or in jail or whatever the case may be, and this music business, I should just say this entertainment world really feeds on those things. The entertainment world uses those things. We all know the stories of the rock stars who was dope, and then all of a sudden they got hooked on the fast life, the drugs, the women, like all of that. Like that is a reoccurring theme that still plays in the background in the entertainment world. And if you don't have a good foundation, a good support system, these things will creep into your business. These things will hurt you, and it's there. You know, the excitement and the rush of doing a good record, getting attention, and making waves, and then all of a sudden, it not making waves, and you're nobody, and then you're back to being somebody, and then the phone calls, and then
Yep.
no phone calls,
Yeah.
Like this game is such a roller coaster, you know, no matter what level you are on, because even the biggest names have experienced that, and they still, you know, experience some of these things. Um, it could do a wreck on your mental health down to your physical health, you know. So, you know, we just have to be mindful of what this game can do to you and make sure that you have the proper infrastructure, family support, some real ones with you that aren't, they're not afraid to say, to pull your car and say, yo, you all right? You know, or nah, you need to chill, or, you know, we don't need to be going to that spot, or we need to just be here, do this, or just eating the right foods, or, you know, just making sure that you're in a good space because you're going to be tackling a lot of demons, a lot of things going on in this business that if you're not aware of, you know, you heard the stories. Oh, I signed a bad deal and now I can't record anymore because they won't put it out and this and that and the third, and you fall into depression. Like you've all heard it before. So, you know, to be able to get through this, you're gonna need to make sure that for 2024 you're in a good space and you've got good grounding.
And I don't really have too much to add on it, man. Like I totally agree with you when you say that. Like you have to have the right support system. This business is meant to devour and destroy.
Hmm.
I ain't holding nobody. For everybody that makes it out in one piece, you don't get to see the scars, that they have to endure, in this business, and the things that you have to do to be, likable, and part of the network, and so forth and so on. So like this is a big, big situation that I think people need to pay attention to. And you want to make sure that you're finding the right community and support system so that you can, get yourself through this type of stuff.
If you had to make one wish for 2024, as far as the landscape of things, what would it be?
You said one wish. When you say one wish, what do you mean one
I'll
wish?
give you an example. One wish that I have for 2024 for the landscape is that um, people would utilize social media just a little less and get back to face conversations, you know, putting the phone down and having dinner with your family, you know, just more one on one. Um, just that whole vibe of, you know, being personable, you know, like
So
in
you want people to
2020,
you want people to be human again.
in 23, man, there was just so much phone up. That's it. Everything was this, everything was this. And, you know, you would see it everywhere you would go, everywhere people walking down the street, people just clicking selfies. Or I'm standing next to someone's car. I gotta, you know, take pictures of the food. I got it. Like everything was just so like it was like it's really out of hand, and I'm just wishing and hoping that 2024 I would really like a day of no social media, like a day of, you know, getting back to one on one. Like if social media would all just say, you know what, for this day is no social media, we're doing this today. You know, I think that would be something that would be really cool and good for people on the on mental space.
If I had to put, and I like that what you said. I think that, when you think about it, that is, I think society is sick right now, bro.
Right. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and people
Hmm.
will say, well, what do you mean by, society is sick? I think what happens is that, we're being poisoned and manipulated by technology.
Hmm.
Um, so it's hard to watch, and you're watching, you're watching morality kind of crumble, you know, and not to be too preachy on it, but you're watching, violence be a little bit higher. You're watching, you know, things become more heinous. So you're just
Hmm.
like, what's really going on? But I think a lot of it, like you said, is could just be really put the phone down,
Yeah.
get back to human interaction again so that you can understand what that feels like.
Right.
and building connection with people. So if I
Right.
had to, I would probably wish what you're wishing for, which sounds kind of cliche,
No.
but but at the end of the day, it's like you kind of see what it is, and we're old enough to have been around like all of those communication devices, whether it was pages to two ways to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So it's
Seen
like
it all.
we seen it all, and we've seen the progression of it, and we've seen what it became, what it's become. Like, it's like, man, like you can't get out of the screen. You can't get
Right.
people out of the screen anymore. It's like,
And
and
then
then
with
people
VR, and
don't.
then VR is coming. And VR is right there. So
It's gonna it'll get worse before it gets better. People will start to realize that, hey, this is toxic for me. You can't watch somebody else's life on a highlight reel.
mm,
That's what causes the depression. Is you're watching the other person and you're thinking that you should be in that position. But something I have to tell my kids is like, hey, you don't know the price that person paid.
right.
Everyone pays a price. There's a price to do what we do. We sacrifice this time, to be away from our family and our kids to do something,
Right.
something different. So people don't really realize that, hey, and everything that you see that's successful or may look like something is going on,
There
they
was
don't
a
know the
debt.
backstory.
Yeah, there was a debt paid for that.
There's always a price to pay for that. So I think if more people understood that and don't look at everything as a highlight reel,
Mm-hmm.
I think we would do better. Just but in the music industry right now, I just want the music industry to feel better. I want the music
Mm-hmm.
to get better. Um, I'm liking where we're going now. We're getting some conscious music, so now
Right.
it's balancing out. I'm
It's
not
starting.
saying I'm not saying that's all I want. I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying getting some balance. Someone is finally saying, "Hey, give us some balance, man." Like, yeah, you can still have that, and you can still have this.
Yeah.
These two, they can still be out here. You don't have to have all this and all of that at one time. You can have a little
I
bit of everything. You know what I mean?
yeah want some. We want some mature music too. Like
That's You're seeing it though. It's coming.
yeah, because if you think about all 40 plus listeners of music, listeners of hip hop, you know we don't necessarily want to listen to the 15-year-old, the 16-year-old. Like where is the music for the 40 plus year old that's not considered old school? Like, in order to get the music that we want, we have to listen to old school music. And I do blame a lot of our legacy artists, for not doing what Nas is doing. Like,
But now,
continue put out music,
music.
continue putting out music, like because we still need that. Like for those guys not to make music is just, I think it's doing a disservice to hip hop.
On a final note with that, those guys are not doing music in a time when it's the least expensive to make music.
Right. Absolutely.
That to me doesn't make sense, right? Like you guys are not putting out music in a time when you could put out music at the drop of a hat.
Right.
So
Right.
it's odd to see some of our legacy artists saying, "Oh, what am I going to rap about?" and blah
Yeah.
blah
That's
blah.
that. That, that was sad to hear Andre say that.
That's like, like, dude, that's not the position that we should be taking at this point.
Right.
And once you have that fan base built in or whatever, nobody's really worrying about the sales, because really the sales numbers are bogus anyway.
Right.
Everybody knows that the sales numbers is bogus. Though everybody knows that a stream is not a stream. Why is a stream different from a download? Like,
Yeah.
what are we really talking about in terms of numbers? So, everybody has kind of played they've played a royalty game on you guys. They made you think that stream was worth this when it really should have been worth that.
Right.
And
No.
it was all to shake you out of your position and, railroad you for your money.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all a game. So I would encourage all of our legacy artists, hey, we need some more music,
Yeah.
and this is going out to all of the people that, I grew up on and I loved. And, you still see KRS putting out stuff. You still, Nas putting out stuff.
Yeah.
But you want all of the legacy artists to, put out their art.
Right. And then somebody says something interesting. I can't remember who it was, but it also shows the younger artists that they still have a future in this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it shows that this don't gotta end for you. If you continue to be hardworking and successful, you could continue being successful. This is the blueprint. This is the model. You can be 40, 45, 50 years old. As long as you're in good health and you're rocking out and you're being current, you could still put out music and you still have a fan base and you could be on tours and festivals because every other genre does it.
Yep.
Every other genre
Every other
does it.
genre does
If
it.
you have country and rock and pop and all of that stuff, they're still putting out music and having festivals and having all of these things. So why should we be the one to be like, oh, we by 25, 30, we a rap? It don't make any sense. You still got fans at 40 plus that want to hear good music that they can relate to at their age. Put it out.
That's it.
That's it.
So Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast, folks. Make sure you're following us at arkatechbeats.com. All social media at Arkatech Beatz. I think next week is Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
Yeah.
the week after that's New Year's. So,
Yeah.
everybody, happy holidays if you're just seeing this, right? And
Yep.
stay safe out there.
Peace.
Peace out.